Hello and welcome to another episode of Jawjacking with James. Previously, I made an episode about how I feel about the about games journalism and how it's become nothing but mostly just they got paid and then they push a political agenda and it's a agenda that's just nobody really likes or wants, and they're mad that we don't like it and we push back on it, and it's our fault they're losing their jobs and they've lost relevance. Makes sense? Not really, but you can figure out a way to make it make sense if you spend all your time just making articles that are have is 5% about the game and 95% terrible, backwards ass, left leaning communist. I went to college, so I think I'm better than everyone. Content, so to speak. And then they make, probably 10 of those and call it a day and expect everyone to praise them. And that has come to an end for them, and I'm glad. But most of this episode is going to go into a wider picture of it's not just games journalism that has become highly compromised. It's the gaming industry as a whole has become a hotbed of just communism, and not just your run of the mill old school Bolshevik communism. I mean, it is there, but it's a lot more of a kind of, it's a updated but much stupider version of communism, where instead of actually getting anything done correctly, which, as much as I hate the communists, at least they were able to somewhat keep things together. But this modern form of left-leaning activism, socialism, they always like to use different words for it, but, at the end of the day, it's still just communism. They just keep renaming it to make it not sound terrible, and because, communism is a widely associated bad thing, despite what left-leaning, jobless urbanites say. I mean, you can just go through history and be like, oh, the communism didn't work. And then the excuse is they didn't do it right. But the fact is that it's never worked and it never will work because it's communism. Communism doesn't work. Anyway, but the overall picture is pushing a more or less highly left-leaning, completely left-leaning, lame and gay version of communism, and in a sense, just jam down as much left-leaning and you must think the way we think, and preaching, and expecting everyone to be like, oh, sure, we'll go along with this. And it's not really working because I don't know if you know this, but video games are meant to be played. They're meant to be escapism. And they don't seem to understand that. They think it's just a platform to just spew and spread their terrible and backwards worldview on normal people just trying to play video games. And it's even a bigger picture of, just all of entertainment has just become a massive push to push that into everyone's face. And they disguise it. They don't say communism anymore. It's disguised as diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are just words. And anytime anybody, anywhere says, we're going to impose diversity and inclusion, what they mean to say is, we want to push leftist, communist propaganda on you, and you better like it or else you're a bad person for it. But the thing is that people are catching on to it finally. But in itself, diversity is just a word. It's a byproduct of this modern age. And video games have always been inclusive, always have, but it's the psychopathic, left-leaning, insane people who said, I want to be a part of this, I want to be a part of it. And they're like, fine, come on in. And then they take it over, and then they destroy it and wonder why nobody likes it anymore. And that is what has happened to nowadays with the video game industry. It's happened to TV, it's happened to movies, it's happened to comics. It's any facet of entertainment has been taken over by it. And I'll go into another video, like they're trying to take over the anime industry, because it's different. We must destroy the different thing. But I'll focus on, I'm going to focus on video games right now. But basically, I'm just going to, be out there trying to say that everything I like is being threatened by people who don't even like the thing they're destroying. They're just destroying it because, it's not, they don't control it, so therefore they must control it, then destroy it. And there's no other way to put it. Like, find any video game that doesn't have a forced agenda pushed on you in this modern day and age. Look at the great fall of Overwatch. It was a great game. And then they just decided, hey, what if we made it terrible? And look at what we got. I mean, I've only, third party played it over to, if I was over someone's house or, I had an opportunity to play it, I'd play it. But, if the game didn't, constantly, with everything that's going on with it, it's like they made an Overwatch 2, and basically all it is Overwatch with a slight update and more diverse, quote-unquote, characters in it, and microtransactions. That's another issue with the gaming industry. They've gotten really, really greedy. It's, they're forcing an agenda. That's one of the problems. They're getting too greedy, with everything they can to try to monetize and force money out of you, the paying customer. They aren't listening to what people want. They're listening to the people that are investing. I mean, you have to, I understand because it's a business, you have to. But at the same time, those people don't play video games. It's like, why are you going to ask what people who don't play video games to make video games? It makes no sense. Also, the cost is going way up to make the video games. Like, some of them are rivaling blockbuster movies now, and it makes no sense. Like, where is this money going? And then you get the game, and it's just... Sorry, cable got stuck anyway. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, some of these games are upwards of 200, 300, 400, 500 million dollars in budget, and then we get the game and it barely runs, and it has to be day one patch and constant updates. It's like, where did the money go? Didn't you spend it on making the game good? And it goes into my conspiracy theory overall that some of these big budget projects are just ways of laundering money, and whatever money hasn't been used for laundering or buying off people is used for the project itself, and then the project looks terrible. I mean, look at some of the recent releases and upcoming releases from Ubisoft. Can just point you in the right direction that just because you say you're making a triple or quadruple A game, and then the game is about as impressive as a beta test college project from the early 2000s, then we have questions like, where did the money go? And this game was called Skull and Bone. It was supposed to be a pirate game, but Ubisoft already made a pirate game called Assassin's Creed 4, Black Sails, and how old is that game? It's like more than 10 years old, and it still runs better. I mean, granted, I used to like Ubisoft games. Up until Far Cry 4. I had Far Cry 3, 4, and I still have Assassin's Creed Black Sails. But it's just, after a certain point, it's just like, can you make some different kind of games? Is that, in the cards? Nope. They keep making Assassin's Creed and they keep making Far Cry games. And they got more samey. They used to be renowned for their graphics. Their graphics have taken a nosedive, and I don't think I'll ever play a Assassin's Creed game other than Black Sails, and I don't think I'll ever play Far Cry unless it's the older ones. But that's just one of them. But another side note is that games are now getting more expensive, but we're not getting what we want out of the games. Like there's a price point of 70, 85, 120 price point for like the newer Ubisoft games that are coming out, the new Assassin's Creed and the new Star Wars game, neither of which I'm going to play because it's just like, where's this money going to come from? And you want me to spend that much just to play the game? It's a play to win, but on a bigger scale. And I'm not going to be doing that. Fuck that. But, another facet is that there's a lot of there's too much complacency in the gaming industry. Like, they're just, hey, let's make the exact same thing, and we have to make this much money. If we don't, then the whole studio is fucked. I mean, just good example is look at EA Games. Like, I could play Battlefield 4 right now, and it'll be more impressive than the latest Battlefield 2042. Just in terms of gameplay, in terms of the fun factor, even the graphics are better. And EA, even back then, EA had their, it's like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, it keeps crashing. And it was like, why didn't you make it good from the get-go when it shipped out? I'm like, we don't know, but there's always exceptions to the rule. But, Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. I really loved Battlefield 1, I mean, after that, that's the cutoff. Once they go into Battlefield World War II, which they already had done, which was just kind of like a sandbox of what World War II was. And then they made 2042, and they're going to make another Battlefield, but, it's just like, if your games made 10 years ago have more players in it than your latest game made within the last year or two, you have a problem. Also, they got rid of... Yeah, and that's another big problem. They keep removing features that are just a no-brainer for a game. And also another thing that bugs me is they're really trying to control who people play, who the people are that play the games. And they also monitor what you're saying now. That's another big thing. And it's just like not that it doesn't exist that people are pieces of shit in voice chats and online games. I mean, I played Call of Duty during the prime of its life in the mid 2000s. Having to curse out 12-year-olds because they just won't shut up, and I have to constantly keep insulting them and telling them that they were mistakes, and then they get mad and quote unquote report me to the because I was playing on PlayStation. Oh, I'm going to report you to the PlayStation people. And I'm like, okay, do that. And then I mute them, and then they cry. But that's a big thing. It's just like there's always a mute button. There's always a block button. There's your counter to hate speech. But it's just there's a multifaceted problem with the gaming industry. Too much infiltration from people who hate video games. The tourists, the corporos. People who are funding it, telling you how to make games. Why don't you just let people who know about games make games, and then let the money come in? Too much greed, too much of this whole... It's like, what if we charge more and give them less, and they still pay for it, and they'll just like it? No, that's not how video games work. And they're trying to control everyone, and it's just not going to go well for them. And, none of this can be solved overnight, but it can be remedied, and the best way to let the industry as a whole know is just, don't buy their crap. It's the same thing with the movie industry and TV. Like, they keep releasing horse shit. Don't consume it. It's not like there isn't 100+ years of film and TV that is vastly superior to anything being made within the last 10 years. Same thing with video games. I mean, every game I own... Let's see. I'm just taking a look at my computer screen to the left of me, and a majority of my games, excluding maybe 2 or 3, majority of them are older games. Like, almost all of them exclusively are older games. The only really modern one is I just downloaded World of Tanks because I want to get into that. And the other one is Halo Infinite, which, initially I'm just like, ooh, I get to play Halo. But it's just like, after I completed the campaign, I had no desire, and frankly, it's just like it's an incomplete game because it's like it ended, and then it teases at a new story, at a better story, and then doesn't go through with it. So it's like, if they ever want to, make Halo fans come back. Why don't you complete the story? But, what do I know? That's just one complaint I have. Because it's like, and, there goes to another issue is that, they've gotten really lazy. They just expect us to be okay with incomplete stories, incomplete games. And they think they can just nickel and dime us along the way and expect us to be okay with it. And I say no to that. And, yeah, it more or less just thinking about it is it's starting to hit me. I'm like, wow, it really is depressing to think that, like almost all the games I play are all older games, or game like some of my, like, I have the original Doom on my computer because that's more entertaining than most modern games. But yeah, just sitting back and thinking about it, I'm like, wow, what has happened to the gaming industry? It kind of hits you like, wow, it really is in a shitty state right now, and it's going to take almost all gamers, no matter who they are, to fix it. I mean, it's the only way. I mean, we have to take back the games industry as well as all other facets of entertainment to get it back to some sort of state of normalcy and actual entertainment instead of just extreme communist propaganda bullshit and, just expect us to like it. And, yeah, if it's not clear, I'm very anti-communist. And, I keep mentioning left-leaning activists. I mean, if you've seen if you look on the news and you look up any, modern protesters, there seems to be a theme with them. They're usually out of shape, hair-colored, piercings, wearing glasses, have shitty tattoos. And those are the left-leaning activists I'm talking about. And they're not nice people. They think they're good people, but they're really not. And it shows in the type of quote-unquote, and I'm using that very loosely, entertainment and art they make. Because, this is an art form. The visual medium is an art, and they're not creative. That's very clear. And they're one of the biggest. It's like they keep saying there's always a problem with the gaming industry. It's like, yes, they are the problem. They are what is making the gaming industry awful. One aspect of it, mind you, but they are a contributing factor to why it's terrible. And mind you, I'm just thinking about it now. I haven't turned on my PS4 I've had for going on 10 years now. Wow. I haven't turned it on in like a year or more. And I've mostly been playing on my computer. And I kind of just play the same few games because, that's what I like to do. But if we want to make games better, it's like we, the gamers as a whole, have to unite against it and say no. And I think that's the only real way to fix it. And hell, we might even have to start our own games studios just to get some good games again. And that's the only way to combat these sorts of things, is either tell them to stop and not contribute to what they're doing, or start something of our own and be a competitor to them. But that's the free market, and we're allowed to do that. And they say we can't do it, but free market. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, I'm gonna end it here because I just got hit with some negative feelings, unfortunately, myself, just thinking about it, about what it's gonna take and how bad things are in the gaming industry. It's like I feel bad, but at the same time, it's their own damn fault. And they have put their line in the sand, and we, as the gamers, need to confront it and move past it. Well, anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna sign off for a bit and try to get a more upbeat episode on the next one that I'm gonna work on. And I want to thank you, listener, for listening. Hope I didn't bring you down too much. I brought myself down a bit, but we'll get over it. But I don't want you to get down over it because of me. There's always hope. We go through our bad spells. We had a video game crash in the 80s, and gaming recovered from it. There was a lull in gaming, and then, we had it. It's just phases. It'll get better. The money will run out eventually, so they'll have to fire all these people that, demand everything and don't produce anything. They'll have to fire them eventually. You can't just, it's like, where will the money come from at that point? And because the gaming industry is losing tons of money. They're making money, but they're also losing tons of money. And, we as gamers need to, show them how much we don't want to play their terrible version of what games should be, and point them in the direction of games we want to have. But anyway, let's hope things get better before they get any worse, and they definitely could get worse. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna sign it off here. Want to thank you for listening, listener. You have yourself a good day. Make sure to give me a like, give me a follow, tell your friends. Want to listen to me rambling on about just anything and everything, and you have yourself a good day. And remember, communism never works, ever.